So as I await the spoiler cast for Logan and my friends to watch it so that we can do the spoiler cast, I figured I would focus on a specific element of Logan that I've noticed isn't sitting particularly well with people, even people who are really big fans of the film. And it was an element that I wasn't a fan of after an initial viewing, but after watching the movie a second time and actually thinking about the various implications this aspect does have, I think it actually really works, and it serves to really enhance the film, particularly the climax. And as you would expect, because I am doing an analysis video on a movie that's only been out for less than a week proper, this is very spoiler-filled, so if you're someone who hasn't seen Logan and doesn't want to be spoiled by it, you should really leave because you have no business watching this video. If you're someone who has seen the movie, and you probably want to see another person's opinions on it, please welcome. And if you're someone who hasn't seen the movie but kind of doesn't really give a shit about spoilers, you're welcome too. So yeah, please. This is spoiler heavy, so spare me any stupid bullshit of, why did you spoil this in the fucking video? Because the video itself is intended to be spoilerific. That's what an analysis is, you stupid asshole. So, the aspect of Logan that took me by surprise and a lot of other people is X-24, the Logan clone. Now, earlier on in the film, we see footage from Gabriella, who is kind of like the adoptive mother of X-23, or Laura, who helps get her out and a lot of the other transition children. And in that video, we see glimpses of the company building something else, some kind of perfected weapon. And I immediately knew it had to be something concerning Wolverine or maybe Sabretooth. And then when we saw that there was going to be an actual Wolverine clone, like a full-on Wolverine clone played by Hugh Jackman, I was, taken by surprise. And the character does have a very effective opening where Logan does kind of become like a slasher movie where you just have this unstoppable monster who nobody can really stand up to. It's only through some sheer dumb luck that the good guys didn't get annihilated right then and there on the farm. But as I exited theater, I thought to myself, well, maybe we could have made this Sabretooth. Maybe we could have had this made this an established character from the movies. And one of the problems of Old Man Logan, and what I thought was a problem with the movie Logan, is that we're kind of doing the final Wolverine story, but we don't have Sabretooth in it. And I thought it was weird for Logan not to have Sabretooth in it because Logan is very much a definitive ending for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Like, he dies at the end of the film. It's probably one of the most definitive climaxes for any comic book hero you've ever seen, because when you really think about it, not a lot of heroes actually have a definitive ending where everything just stops, for them anyway. Dark Knight Returns, Bruce Wayne has many more adventures after Dark Knight Returns, even though that's supposed to be like the last Batman story. Old Man Logan, it's like the final Wolverine story, but there's more stuff after it that can work as kind of a sequel. And Old Man Logan did not have Sabretooth in it, so I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity with the film after an initial viewing. However, when you actually stop and think about Xander Rice and X-24 and the relationship between them and how it parallels the relationship between Laura and Logan, it's actually really effective, because the whole thing with X-24 is that he is Logan's primal animalistic rage. He doesn't speak, he doesn't really have much character at all. He is just this animalistic monster who goes around murdering people at the behest of some corporate douchebag. And that's what people have always wanted Logan to be. That's what everybody has tried to turn Logan into, this mindless, savage killing machine who you can just send anywhere on the planet, and because of his adamantium and because of his healing factor, he would be completely unstoppable. He would be the perfect, killing machine, the living weapon. That's always what people try to turn Logan into. X-24 is the physical embodiment of Logan's animalistic rage. And he is what the company tried to do with the children. They basically tried to create this evil, not evil necessarily, just this amoral monster who will kill anybody they want him to. That was kind of like the whole big objective with X-23 and the other kids. And what Xander Rice says about X-24 is that the reason 24 is successful, whereas all the other ones aren't, is because the other ones were children. They were born as regular people, and then they tried to mold them into horrific murderers, and it didn't stick. And so he designed X-24 from the beginning that he doesn't have the mentality of a regular human being, that he is just pure rage. However, where things get really interesting is the relationship between 24 and Xander Rice. And this is one of the subtleties of the movie that they don't really draw much attention to. There's not like some big speech from 24 or from Xander Rice that's supposed to blatantly spell this out, but it's actually really, really subtle. Despite X-24 being intended to be this raging monster, this machine of complete destruction, he cares about Xander Rice. Rice is the only person 24 listens to. And when 24 discovers that Logan killed Xander Rice, his father figure, his parent, for all intents and purposes, 24 loses his shit. He wants revenge. He's not interested, in killing Logan because somebody told him to. He's interested for revenge because this guy murdered his parent. And Xander Rice, in the same footage I already mentioned before earlier on in the film, he basically says to Gabriella that you shouldn't treat these children like children. You shouldn't treat them as people. You shouldn't give them birthday parties. You shouldn't, kiss their boo-boos. They're property. They're IPs. They're nothing but things that we can sell and discard at our leisure. And yet, when you look at the way Xander Rice, treats 24 and the scenes that they have together and the way he talks about him, he's proud. He talks about him like a proud father would be of his own son. And the scene after the end of the farmhouse fight where 24 is really fucked up and Xander Rice is giving him this serum that's going to help him regenerate faster and fix him up. In that scene, Xander Rice is acting very affectionately towards 24. He's, taking care of his wounded child. And that's a really interesting antagonistic parallel between the relationship of the antagonists and the protagonists of the film. Because while Xander Rice does show more affection to 24 than Logan does for Laura most of the time, Laura and Logan are actually better for one another because Logan doesn't want Laura to be like him. He doesn't want her to be a machine, to be a mindless rage monster. His final words of "don't be what they made you to be" are very powerful because both of them managed to defeat the manifestation, the physical representation of Logan's animalistic rage that everybody tried to manipulate for as long as he was alive. And that's where the interesting parallels between the two of them come, where one father is very proud of his child being this monster, while the other one wants their child to veer away from that. And I really like the fact that the movie doesn't explicitly point this out. I like that the film just has a lot of these events happen, and then as you're watching it, you can connect the dots to yourself. And that's what makes it really, really effective. And I don't think I'm being pretentious, I should say, or if I'm just making shit up to make the movie look better than it is. Because throughout the entire movie, the villains are actually very humane, I guess, is the word I want to say. They have every opportunity they can possibly have to kill Wolverine, to kill the children, but they don't want to do that. They always want to capture them. Rice even tries to reason with Wolverine, even though common sense should tell him not to do that. And that is like a running theme throughout the whole movie, that the villains are not particularly villainous even when they're doing bad things. In fact, the only reason they even kill Charles Xavier is because he is simply far too dangerous to be left alive. His brain could have like the mother of all seizures and potentially kill millions upon millions of people, and that's pretty much the only exception to the rule. In every other situation in the film, the bad guys are always trying to capture the good guys, or they're trying to reason with the good guys. They're not particularly antagonistic or overly evil for the sake of being evil. And the way they, wipe out the mutants is another good indicator of that. So, yeah, the villains of Logan are actually surprisingly effective, and they're probably the most effective villains the X-Men franchise has had in the way that they basically win. Like, this company who poisoned in food and water, they managed to wipe out the mutants better than Apocalypse ever could, or Stryker, or the Sentinels. Basically, all these big comic booky concepts tried and failed to beat the X-Men, and this dude just poisoned some food and water, and he wiped out the X gene out of existence. And then he gave the X gene and the mutants their future back by breeding a new generation of mutants who are probably going to be free of that genetic manipulation. So yeah, the villains in Logan are actually pretty fucking effective, and I think they're a really good showcase of the subtleties of the movie and how good of a screenplay this is. So yeah, guys, what did you think about X-24? Were you surprised by his appearance? Did you think it was obvious? Do you like the more subtle aspects, the more subtle nuances that X-24 and Xander Rice and the overall like villainous and the antagonists of the movie had? Or would you have preferred something that was a bit more, standard, comic booky? So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little analysis I made for the movie Logan. We're probably going to talk a lot more of this kind of shit in the spoiler cast between me, James, and Joey when we finally get to it this weekend. And I will also be having a spoiler cast on John Wick, both of the John Wick movies, with a friend of mine in college who's a really big John Wick fan, and hopefully I'm going to have both of those done over the weekend. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.